Have you ever had one of those moments where you look in the mirror and think to yourself, when did I start looking so different? We all go through it. Sometimes it's a small change, and other times it feels like we barely recognize ourselves. Now, imagine going through that same experience, but instead of just you noticing, the whole world is watching. Cameras, fans, social media, everyone has something to say. That's exactly what happened recently with Linda Hunt, the Oscar-winning actress so many of us admire. She stepped out for a rare public outing, and the photos quickly made headlines. Suddenly, everyone was talking about how she looked, with many people saying she seemed almost unrecognizable. Some even went as far as to call her appearance frightening. But before we get carried away with dramatic words, let's take a breath. Linda Hunt isn't just anyone. She's a legend in Hollywood. She's a woman who broke barriers, delivered unforgettable performances, and carved out a unique place in film history. She's not someone who spends her time chasing paparazzi attention or staging appearances just to stay in the news. That's not her style. She's private. She's low-key. And maybe that's why this outing drew so much attention, because when she does step out, people notice. And sometimes, they overreact. So, let's talk about what really happened. Let's walk through who Linda Hunt is, why this rare sighting matters, and why people reacted the way they did. And while we're at it, let's also look at what this tells us about aging, fame, and the way we see the people we put on pedestals. Linda Hunt is not just the actress from TV. She's a force. If you've ever watched NCIS, Los Angeles, you know her instantly as Hetty Lange, the small but mighty operations manager with that mysterious aura and sharp wit. She commanded every scene she was in, despite not being the tallest or the loudest. That's the magic of Linda Hunt, her presence was larger than life. But her career doesn't start or end with NCIS. Long before TV fame, she stunned the world in the year of Living Dangerously. That role? It was groundbreaking. She played Billy Kwan, a male character, and did it so convincingly, so brilliantly, that she won an Academy Award. That's not just acting, that's history. That Oscar win wasn't just about recognition. It was proof that Linda Hunt was fearless. She wasn't afraid to take risks, to step outside the box, and to challenge the way people thought about casting, gender, and performance. That kind of boldness is rare, and it's what made her unforgettable. For fans, she became more than just a performer. She became an inspiration. So, when someone like Linda Hunt steps out in public after being away from the spotlight for a while, it's going to grab attention. But here's the tricky part, people weren't just saying, "Oh, it's nice to see her again." The reactions were mixed. Some fans were worried. They said she looked frail, fragile, almost like a completely different person. Others took it too far and used words like frightening, which, let's be honest, feels unfair. Because what were they really reacting to? It wasn't Linda herself. It was the shock of seeing time pass. It was the realization that our heroes age just like we do. Let's be real, aging is something none of us escape. Wrinkles, slower steps, changes in posture or strength, it all comes with the territory of being human. But here's where Hollywood complicates things. When you're famous, people freeze you in their memory. They hold on to an image of you at your peak, whether that's a red carpet moment, an iconic role, or a magazine cover. And when you reappear years later looking older, fans are stunned. It's almost as if they forget that stars live in the same world we do, with the same ticking clock. That's why this outing felt so shocking to some people. But the truth is, Linda Hunt isn't frightening. She isn't some ghost of the past. She's a woman in her late 70s who has lived a full, incredible life. She's dealt with challenges, including serious health issues. In 2018, for example, she was in a car accident that forced her to step back from NCIS, Los Angeles for a while. It was a tough time, and for fans, it was hard to imagine the show without her. She eventually returned, which showed not only her resilience but also her love for the craft. But that accident also reminded us that even the strongest stars are human, and sometimes life knocks them down. Here's the thing though, experts on aging often say that when people react so strongly to how celebrities look, it's not really about the celebrity. It's about us. It's about our own fear of aging, of losing vitality, of seeing our own reflection change in ways we can't control. That's why words like frightening pop up, not because the person is truly frightening, but because they remind us of something we don't want to think about, our own mortality. If you really think about it, Linda Hunt is showing us something powerful. She's not hiding away because she doesn't look like she did in her 40s. She's not chasing Hollywood beauty standards or trying to keep up appearances just to make other people comfortable. She's living authentically. She's embracing her reality. And that's a kind of courage we don't see enough of. It's so easy to get caught up in the idea that celebrities have to look perfect forever. But let's be honest, perfection doesn't exist. Even the biggest stars eventually step away from the spotlight and live quieter lives. And maybe that's something worth celebrating. Linda Hunt isn't frightening. She's free. Free from the need to constantly perform for the public. Free from the expectation that she should look a certain way. Free to just be Linda. And maybe that's the lesson here. Instead of treating aging as something scary, maybe we can start seeing it as something natural, even something beautiful. It's proof of a life lived, of battles fought, of stories written in every line and wrinkle. Linda Hunt has given the world unforgettable performances, and now she's giving us a different kind of lesson, one about grace, authenticity, and courage. So, the next time you see a celebrity who looks completely different than they did years ago, ask yourself. Are you really shocked at them, or are you just surprised at the reminder that time changes us all? That's the real question here. Now, I'd love to hear what you think. When you see someone like Linda Hunt step out looking so different after years away, how does it make you feel? Do you find it surprising, or do you find it inspiring that she's living her truth, no matter what anyone says? Share your thoughts in the comments, because I think this is a conversation worth having. And if you enjoyed this video and want to explore more stories about Hollywood legends and how fame intersects with real life, make sure you check out the next video on the channel. We've got so many more fascinating stories to dive into. If this video spoke to you, please hit that like button, it really helps more people find these kinds of conversations. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got more deep dives into the lives of stars you love, and I'd love for you to be part of this community. And of course, share this with a friend who loves Hollywood stories just as much as you do. At the end of the day, stars may shine brightly on the screen, but off-screen? They're just like us. They age, they change, they face challenges. And in a way, that makes them even more relatable, doesn't it? So let's celebrate Linda Hunt, not for looking the way people expected, but for living life her way. And maybe, just maybe, we can all take a little inspiration from that.